Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. Beginning the early morning hours of the 8th of May 2025, a certain media outlet began publicizing and showing images of evidence that they say is legitimate. There's no reason to believe why they would produce such evidence if it was not, that appears to have come from the court records, sealed from the public for years. This has been the talk of many people interested in the case. Looking at this evidence, not presented in a court of law, but presented in the media, and deciding guilt or not guilt based on what the media has presented. You know, the media tried to get the non-dissemination order that both sides, Mr. Thompson and Ms. Taylor, counsel for the state and for the defense respectively, decided was proper because they went to the first jurist in this case, Judge Marshall, January 3rd, 2023. They felt in their best judgment that a non-dissemination, aka gag order, was properly instituted in this case. And their stipulation was granted that same day by Judge Marshall. It's been amended a couple of times since then by Judge Marshall and then Judge, who was the second duly appointed jurist to oversee this proceeding. It's never been set aside. It remains in effect. The media went so far as to going to the Idaho Supreme Court to get that non-dissemination order set aside, and they were unsuccessful. This is back in 2023. That non-dissemination order is what has prevented such things as you may have seen in other high-profile cases, where once in a while the prosecutor or the defense might give an interview to update the public on their thoughts on how the case is proceeding. We've never seen one in that case. You have never seen an interview by Mr. Thompson. We've never seen an interview by Ms. Taylor regarding how they respectively feel about the case. It's because of that non-dissemination order. They're prohibited from doing so. So the question I believe that should be asked is, this is not an issue of guilt or innocence. This is an issue of who had the authority to override what Mr. Thompson felt as the duly appointed prosecutor for Latah County since 1992. He produced an affidavit in this case back on February 7th, 2023, saying that he has been the prosecutor for Latah County for decades. He has jurisdiction over the state's case and how it will be presented on behalf of the people of the state of Idaho. And his decision was that a non-dissemination order was proper. He has not once moved to set it aside. Neither has the defense. Mr. Thompson and Ms. Jennings have filed numerous requests that the discovery or the evidence in this case should remain under seal, citing to various exceptions to public disclosure, which was accepted by the judges who have jurisdiction over this state case. Mr. Kohberger has a right to a fair trial. There can be no doubt about that. That is his constitutional right. This case was moved once already out of Latah County, which is where it should be proceeding. That's the jurisdiction where these crimes occurred. Not Ada County, Latah County. But yet, this case was moved. Why? Mr. Kohberger was concerned about the impact of negative pretrial publicity on his right to a fair trial. And Judge John Judge agreed and granted that motion. That is the only reason why this case is in Idaho County. There have been people who have tried to get documents that are under seal from the case files. They've all been told no. They've been told you need to file a public records request. As recently as this past week, Judge Stephen J. Hippler denied a request for someone to intercede in the case to obtain records that are under seal in the case, and said you need to go through the proper channels, which is to ask through a public records request. Where's the public records request? From the media, from anyone, to have obtained authority to present evidence that's under seal. In my opinion, something needs to be done about this matter, because this is a state case. Judge Hippler has jurisdiction over the state case. Mr. Thompson has jurisdiction over how the case will be prosecuted, and Mr. Kohberger has a right to a fair trial. If you have any thoughts or any comments, please leave them here. This is Kathy. Thank you for joining us today.